Atomic Habits Introduction Summary. Atomic Habits by James Clear explores how small, incremental habits can lead to remarkable personal and professional transformations. The book is built on the idea that success isn't the result of a single, dramatic change but is instead the compound effect of tiny improvements made consistently over time. Clear uses real-world stories, psychological research, and practical strategies to demonstrate how these small changes, or atomic habits, can lead to significant results. Clear introduces the 4 laws of behavior change: cue, craving, response, and reward, and explains how you can apply these to build good habits and break bad ones. His core message is that if you focus on improving by just 1% every day, these tiny gains will compound into substantial progress. Clear also explains why habits are the building blocks of success, and how you can design your environment and mindset to support lasting behavioral change. In this video, we'll break down each chapter, explaining the key lessons and actionable steps you can take to build better habits and improve your life. Chapter 1: The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. James Clear opens the book with a powerful story of Dave Brailsford, the coach who led the British cycling team to an unprecedented level of success. Brailsford's strategy was simple: he focused on improving every aspect of cycling by just 1%. By making these tiny improvements in areas like nutrition, bike design, and even the pillows cyclists used, the team's performance skyrocketed over time. This is the core idea behind Atomic Habits: small habits that seem insignificant at first but compound over time into remarkable results. Clear explains that the real power of atomic habits lies in their compounding effect. Just like money compounds over time in an investment, so do habits. Small, consistent actions repeated over time can lead to massive improvements, while small, negative habits compound into unwanted outcomes. Clear emphasizes that big changes come from small shifts in behavior. Example: the British cycling team under Dave Brailsford achieved astonishing success by focusing on small, incremental improvements. This led to 5 Tour de France victories and multiple Olympic medals. Action for Chapter 1: The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. Identify one habit you want to improve and aim to make a 1% improvement in that area every day. Write down the small change you will make and track it daily to see how it compounds over time. Key takeaway: success is the product of daily habits, not one-time actions. Small, consistent improvements build on each other and can lead to significant outcomes. Chapter 2: How Your Habits Shape Your Identity, and Vice Versa. In this chapter, Clear introduces the concept of identity-based habits. He explains that most people try to change their habits by focusing on outcomes. Example: I want to lose weight. However, the key to lasting change is focusing on who you want to become instead of what you want to achieve. Your habits are a reflection of your identity, and to change your habits, you need to change your self-image. Clear explains that behaviors follow beliefs. If you want to build a lasting habit, you need to shift your identity and think about the type of person who would naturally engage in that behavior. For example, instead of setting a goal to read more, you should start thinking of yourself as a reader, someone who reads regularly. Once your identity shifts, your behaviors will naturally follow. Example: Clear shares the story of someone trying to quit smoking. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to quit," the person says, "I don't smoke." This subtle shift in identity from a smoker to a non-smoker changes their mindset and strengthens their resolve. Action for Chapter 2: How Your Habits Shape Your Identity. Identify one habit you want to build and ask yourself, who is the type of person who does this consistently? Write down the identity you want to adopt. Example: I am a healthy person, or I am a reader, and begin making choices aligned with that identity. Key takeaway: the key to lasting habit change is identity transformation. To create a new habit, focus on becoming the type of person who embodies the habit you want to develop. Chapter 3: How to Build Better Habits in 4 Simple Steps. Clear breaks down the habit loop into 4 key steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. These 4 stages form the backbone of every habit, both good and bad. Understanding how they work can help you better design habits that stick. 1. Cue, the trigger that initiates the habit. 2. Craving, the desire for the reward or outcome of the habit. 3. Response, the actual behavior or action you take. 4. Reward, the benefit or satisfaction you get from completing the habit. Clear explains that if you want to create a good habit, you need to make the cue obvious, make the craving attractive, make the response easy, and make the reward satisfying. Example. Clear shares the story of a man who wanted to lose weight, so he made his gym bag visible at all times as a constant reminder, cue, to go to the gym. The cue made it easier for him to take action and build the habit of regular exercise. Action for Chapter 3, How to Build Better Habits. Identify one habit you want to build. Break it down into the cue, craving, response, and reward. Make the cue obvious by placing visual reminders in your environment and design the habit to be as simple and satisfying as possible. Key takeaway. By understanding the habit loop, you can design better habits by making them easy to start and satisfying to complete. Chapter 4, The Man Who Didn't Look Right. In this chapter, Clear introduces the idea of awareness as the first step in changing habits. He tells the story of a hospital nurse who saved a life by noticing that one of her patients didn't look right. Her awareness allowed her to spot early signs of a heart attack before the patient even recognized something was wrong. Clear explains that if you're unaware of your habits, it's difficult to change them. He introduces the concept of habit tracking, where you record your behaviors to become more aware of what you do. Once you're aware of your habits, you can begin the process of change. Example. Clear talks about how successful people in various fields, whether athletes, executives, or performers, use tracking systems to maintain awareness of their habits and performance. For instance, some athletes meticulously track their diet, workouts, and progress. Action for Chapter 4, The Man Who Didn't Look Right. Start tracking your habits. Choose one habit to track each day, whether it's your eating, exercise, or productivity habits. Write down what you do each day to increase your awareness and identify patterns. Key takeaway. Self-awareness is the foundation of habit change. By tracking your habits, you can identify patterns and areas that need improvement. Chapter 5, The Best Way to Start a New Habit. Clear introduces the idea of habit stacking, a strategy for starting new habits by attaching them to existing ones. Instead of trying to create a new habit from scratch, link it to something you already do regularly. This technique makes it easier to form new habits because you're building on existing routines. Clear explains that the more specific you are about when and where you will perform the new habit, the more likely you are to stick with it. For example, instead of saying, "I will meditate more," you might say, "After I make my morning coffee, I will meditate for 5 minutes." This specificity and linkage increases the likelihood of success. Example. Clear uses the example of habit stacking by attaching a habit you want to build, such as reading, to a current habit, like drinking coffee. After I drink my morning coffee, I will read for 10 minutes. Action for Chapter 5, The Best Way to Start a New Habit. Choose a habit you want to build and attach it to an existing habit. Write down your habit stacking plan: after, current habit, I will, new habit. Make sure the habit is specific and easy to perform. Key takeaway. Linking new habits to existing ones, habit stacking, increases the likelihood of success. Specific cues make it easier to perform the new habit consistently. Chapter 6, Motivation is Overrated, Environment Often Matters More. In this chapter, Clear challenges the traditional notion that motivation is the key to habit change. Instead, he argues that environment plays a much bigger role in shaping our habits. Your environment influences your behavior in ways you may not even realize. If you want to make good habits easier, you need to design your environment to support those habits. Clear shares several examples of how changing your physical surroundings can help you change your behavior. For instance, if you want to eat healthier, simply removing junk food from your kitchen will reduce temptation and make it easier to stick to your goals. Example. Clear shares the example of how companies like Google redesigned their cafeteria layouts to make healthier food choices more visible and accessible, resulting in healthier eating behaviors among employees. Action for Chapter 6, Motivation is overrated. Take a look at your environment and redesign it to support the habits you want to build. Remove items that trigger bad habits and place cues for good habits where you can see them. For example, keep healthy snacks visible and within reach, and hide or remove junk food from your kitchen. Key takeaway. Your environment is a powerful force that shapes your habits. If you want to make lasting changes, design your environment to encourage good habits and discourage bad ones. Chapter 7, The Secret to Self-Control. Clear explains that self-control is often viewed as the key to overcoming bad habits, but in reality, self-control is unreliable over the long term. The secret to breaking bad habits isn't having more willpower but removing the cues that trigger those habits in the first place. If you eliminate the trigger, you eliminate the temptation. Clear emphasizes that habits are triggered by cues in your environment. By making the cues for bad habits less obvious or removing them entirely, you reduce your reliance on self-control. This is why it's so important to design your environment for success. Example. Clear talks about a man who wanted to watch less TV. Instead of relying on willpower, he removed the batteries from the remote control and stored the remote in another room. This extra step made it harder to watch TV on impulse. Action for Chapter 7, The Secret to Self-Control. Identify the cues that trigger your bad habits. Write down the habits you want to break and the specific triggers that cause them. Remove those triggers from your environment to reduce temptation. Key takeaway. The best way to break a bad habit is not to rely on willpower but to remove the cues that trigger the habit in the first place. Self-control is easier when you don't expose yourself to temptation. Chapter 8, How to Make a Habit Irresistible. Clear introduces the concept of temptation bundling, which involves pairing a habit you want to build with something you already enjoy. By making habits more enjoyable, you increase the likelihood of sticking with them. He explains that the dopamine system in the brain plays a crucial role in habit formation because it drives pleasure and anticipation. By linking habits with rewards, or by making them more pleasurable, you tap into your brain's natural reward system, making the habit more desirable and easier to maintain. Example. Clear shares how people who struggle with going to the gym might combine their workout with listening to their favorite podcast or music. This way, they associate the gym with something they enjoy, making it easier to build the habit. Action for Chapter 8, How to Make a Habit Irresistible. Pair a habit you want to build with an activity or reward you already enjoy. Write down how you will bundle the new habit with something pleasurable. For example, I will only watch my favorite show while I'm exercising. Key takeaway. Make your habits more attractive by pairing them with activities or rewards that you enjoy. Temptation bundling is a great way to make new habits more desirable. Conclusion. Atomic Habits by James Clear provides a framework for understanding how tiny, incremental changes in behavior can lead to significant personal and professional transformations. The book is built on the idea that habits are the foundation of success, and by mastering the art of small improvements, anyone can achieve remarkable results. Through clear, actionable strategies and real-world examples, Clear shows that changing your habits is possible, and easier, when you understand the systems behind them. By applying the key takeaways and actions from each chapter, readers can start implementing the lessons of Atomic Habits into their own lives, leading to lasting behavioral change and success in any area they choose to focus on. End of the book summary. Thank you. Book briefs, simplifying insights, saving your time.